The world needed me, but I needed something faster. All this time, I thought I needed a cape. Turns out all I needed was 382 horsepower. This is the final edition. The 2026 Toyota GR Supra final edition. Let's get into it. That's right, ladies and gents. To the right side of me is the final edition Mark V Toyota GR Supra. And while it is a little bit of a sad moment to say that, it is also a moment to celebrate this absolutely incredible car that Toyota gave us out of nowhere. The Mark V Toyota Supra came into being back in 2019 when Toyota and BMW, another beloved brand of mine, decided to collaborate and work on this straight-six rear-wheel drive monster of a sports car. And we finally got a fire-breathing Toyota Supra, the nameplate that a lot of us have a lot of memories with, whether it's with the Fast and Furious franchise or just reading tuner magazines back in the day. The Supra really means a lot to us enthusiasts. And that brings us to the final edition Toyota Supra that we have here today in the color undercover, hence the Batmobile references, because it is absolutely stunning and murdered out from the factory. And well, this dry carbon fiber spoiler is definitely one of the items that you will be getting with the final edition. And the craftsmanship is absolutely incredible. I really like the way Toyota worked on this one. The weave is spot on. Right below the Toyota logo, we have a matte black Supra emblem. And well, it fits in with the color, of course. The diffuser area pretty much remains unchanged. We have our reverse light right in the center, and it is a pretty aggressive look. The rear end of the Supra has always been pretty mean, and we keep the dual exhaust. And well, speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a listen to that B58. So there are only two ways to access the storage in the back of the Toyota Supra, and first one being that button right there on your door, and the second is using your suspiciously familiar key fob and the button right there. There are no external buttons to get into the trunk, unfortunately, but once you open this hatch, it reveals an well, okay amount of space, honestly, for what the Toyota Supra is. This is a shelf that you can modify and flip and remove as you desire to put a little bit of a larger items in here. And well, the issue really isn't the size itself, it's kind of the opening, right? So you're not going to be able to get a large full-size luggage in here, but a couple carry-ons for a weekend getaway won't be an issue. On top of that, the final edition comes with its own special, pretty cool looking car cover. Side profile of the final edition Toyota Supra, and we're welcomed with these forged 19-inch matte black wheels, and we've got these pretty looking GR stickers on the side to remind you that this is indeed no ordinary Toyota product. And up here under the 19-inch wheels, we have upgraded larger brakes for your track days. In the front of the Toyota Supra final edition, things remain mostly unchanged. The headlights that we know and love, and that good looking front bumper. And well, the one thing that does change are the addition of these front wheel spats, and it gives the car a little bit of a wider look. And to tie in all the visual exterior bits of the final edition, we have these red mirrors that go along with a bit of the rest of the red accents on this car. But all the changes to the final edition aren't visual. There are a few mechanical ones that we'll talk about when we take this thing for a drive. Let's go ahead and double pull the Toyota, well, BMW latch to open the hood and see what's underneath on our Mark V Toyota Supra. And well, here is a very familiar sight to me and well, a lot of BMW enthusiasts, because this is the straight-six twin scroll turbo 3-liter B58 motor that is a phenomenal powertrain, probably hands down one of the best internal combustion powertrains of the previous decade. And well, Toyota recognizes that, and that's probably why it is the heart of the final edition Mark V Toyota Supra. And well, if you were hoping for more power, unfortunately, the B58 for the final edition American cars remains unchanged. 382 horsepower, which is known to be maybe a little bit more than that. And the final edition comes with the Handshaker 6-speed manual. Let's go ahead and take a look at the interior of the final edition Toyota Supra. And well, when you open this door, the first thing you're greeted by is the plaque that reminds you that this is indeed one of 1,300 final edition Toyota Supras. And well, it is something special to be said about that. But once you're inside the cockpit of the Toyota Supra, if you have ever owned a BMW, there's going to be a lot of familiar bings and bongs and noises. And well, it is because it is the twin to the BMW Z4, hence the fact that we have the iDrive wheel right here. Your entire infotainment is pretty much a reskinned iDrive in the Toyota Supra, which is not a bad thing per se. I actually really like using this generation iDrive. It is indeed a touchscreen, and we also have a very nice sounding JBL system in the Supra, which separates it from its cousin. Although I will say, if you enjoy rock and roll and country music and things like that, jazz maybe, this sounds amazing. There's a lot of mid-range, but if you enjoy songs with heavy bass, it leaves a little bit to be desired compared to some of the other stereo systems. Next thing I want to mention is the GR logo embossed into the seats for the final edition, and also we have red seat belts. The seats indeed have the suede inserts inside of them, and yeah, so in the center of this car we have the real carbon fiber and all the works, and it looks fantastic. And right in the center we have the 6-speed manual shifter that now has the red ring, reminding you that it is indeed the final edition. You have your electronic handbrake that you can also use to hold you on hills. And right next to that we have your auto stop start. Yes folks, this is a manual that has auto stop start that you would have to turn off. Sport mode thankfully turns that off for you. And right underneath that is your parking sensors, traction control, and all the rest of your safety systems. And when you look right in front of you, you're greeted by the steering wheel, which is unfortunately practically the same exact steering wheel you would get in the non-M Sport BMWs. It has a couple of bolsters added to it, but the configuration of the buttons and the airbag and this empty dead space leaves something to be desired compared to some of the ones that are available for the BMW Z4. The gauge cluster, however, is one of the more attractive gauge clusters that are half digital with a little bit of a physical numbers going on. It does show you your gears on gear changes, and it is a little bit configurable. It does give you useful info, and this gauge cluster is bespoke to the Toyota Supra, which is a cool thing they did. As part of your center stack, you pretty much get a basic dual zone climate control with heated seats. That is, you guessed it, out of the BMWs. And here is this feature Doug DeMuro loves to talk about, which is when you slide your finger over all of these, it shows you your different modes for your radio, or vice versa for your discs. And that is, you guessed it, straight out of BMW. You want to see one more thing that's might be out of BMW? And now that we've seen everything on the Toyota Supra Final Edition inside and out, let's put our very red seatbelts on and take the Supra for a final drive. All right, driving the Mark V Toyota GR Supra Final Edition. And of course, the crown jewel, the 6-speed transmission in the Toyota Supra that wasn't a thing when it first came out, and the enthusiasts really had to beg and plead Toyota for it. And honestly, that's what really makes this car extra special. There's something to be said about the straight six V58 under the hood also, that gives this thing the 382 horsepower and 368 pound-feet of torque. They're pretty good numbers for a car this small and this lightweight. So as I mentioned, there are a couple of little technical tweaks with the final edition, and that would be stiffer bushings and also extra bracing, underbody bracing on this car that makes it even stiffer than the previous Toyota Supras. It also comes with a slightly different camber to give you a more direct steering feel. And that steering feel is apparent. If you want to see me drive this thing on the track, well, a different Toyota Supra, link right up here. Go check that out to get a little bit of my thoughts about this car at the limit. But even on these back roads, I can tell this steering is a little bit tweaked. And also I heard that the differential on these cars are also slightly different. And the auto rev match, as much of a hater as I was, it definitely has changed my mind after a week of living with it, because it makes you feel like a rock star. You can really drive this car and downshift quick, kind of like you would in the 8-speed ZF8 HP automatic version of this car. So it takes a little bit of that driver factor out of the question. It's really going to help with your reaction time. And of course you can turn it off if you're like me and you enjoy nailing your own downshifts and rev matching yourself. That option is always there. Man, this chassis is just amazing. The combination of two giants, BMW and Toyota, and just developing something like this has resulted in such a well-balanced chassis and such a fun two-seater rear-wheel drive sports car. And it's kind of sad to be driving the final edition. I remember being excited when this car was announced and, you know, barely knowing the details of what it's going to be, what kind of a chassis, what kind of powertrain. And, you know, just like any other person and just like any other car guy, just the name Supra was enough to get my attention. As much as this car got a lot of hate for utilizing a non-Toyota native powertrain, I think it is its strong suit. It makes the noises that everyone heard and remembered from the legendary 2JZ, and well, the performance is just absolutely there. These modern BMW straight six turbo powertrains have been called modern 2JZs for a reason. If you look at the records people have been setting and the tunability and how much more you can pull out of these cars with really minor changes, it's absolutely incredible. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and well, a couple of the things that really didn't give us the pure Mark V experience out of the Supra as we wanted, and one was the price. As I'm driving this final edition, I have to keep in mind that this is indeed a $73,000 sticker price vehicle, and well, that's a lot of money, especially compared to when this car was initially announced around the $50,000 range. It's really putting itself out of reach for a lot of car enthusiasts. The price just creeped and creeped, and now it is a, you know, Heimit's 70s car. And for what it is, there are a lot of other options in the market that may offer even more horsepower. Although as a package, I still think this car makes a very compelling argument. And this transmission, you know, a lot of people like to give BMW crap for a rubbery, notchy gearbox, but I've always been a fan of it. So to me, this thing is the perfect combination and match made heaven of a car. But as far as raw manual transmission, rear wheel drive sports cars go, well, it seems like another one bites the dust, and we're gonna have to wait and see what Toyota will bring for the Mark 6. And well, seeing a couple of the renderings and the rumors that I've heard, especially with what they're doing with the whole GR lineup, I'm hopeful that Toyota will not disappoint. But for now, we're here to say goodbye to the Mark 5 Toyota Supra, and what a run it's had. I'm absolutely ecstatic that Toyota decided to bring this car back from the dead, and the direction they went down, I think it was really strategically positive decision, and it made for a really solid vehicle despite what some of the purists might say about it. I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing one more salute, and now I want to ask you guys what you think about the Mark 5 Toyota Supra. If you own one, or if you have a poster of it on your wall and you're saving up to get one, I want to hear all about it down in the comments below. If you're driving something that you consider a competitor to the Toyota Supra, I want to know why you bought it and what it is. And if you're cross-shopping this with something else, I also want to hear what is in your shopping cart. And if you're not subscribed to Seize the Speed, what are you doing? I bought a Batman mask for this video, so go ahead and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss future uploads and car reviews like this one. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, and I'm out. I can't see shit. How the hell does Batman drive?